How do you feel about intimacy in role-playing games? Some people tolerate it, some people don't want it at all. Obviously, if people don't want schmexual themes in their games, the correct answer is to force it until everyone gets creeped out. So grab your shampoo and pubic lice treatment because today we're catching a case of the CritCrabs. This soul-crushing crab is sponsored by our friends Ghostfire Gaming. Today we have a sponsor I think you crabs will love. The Runesmith's own Sunken Isles. Sunken Isles is a magical adventure setting for D&D 5th edition where you and your party have only 20 weeks to save the Isles from total annihilation. Complete with crafting, an improved sailing system, several new races, including a race of crustaceans, this is not something you want to miss, especially if you're a fan of pirates, tropical adventure, magic tattoos, or any of Eldermancy's other amazing creations. Go check out the Sunken Isles in the link below. This is the last week that the Kickstarter will be available, so don't miss out. All that aside, roll post. I'd been playing with a group for a few years. The GM was open about being into various kink things, but he was never creepy about it and nothing ever bled over into the game. Mostly it would be small talk stuff like, I had a play date with so-and-so last week. She's really into shibari. I hadn't been able to play for a while because of scheduling issues and finally returned after a few months. In the meantime, the GM had gotten a new girlfriend. I get there and it's the usual group of players. GM, GF, we're introduced to her and we get ready to start gaming. GF is invited to play and we, the players, offered to help her make a character. She declines and says she'll just hang out with us while we play. We're all sitting at the table and GF is sitting on the floor at GM's feet. For a while, she would do this annoying weeaboo Catgirl act at the GM, literally saying stuff like, purr, meow meow in a high-pitched baby talk voice. And if she felt like she wasn't getting enough attention, she would start acting like a cat, pawing at him, purring, headbutting his leg, and so on. He would pat her head, kiss her, etc. It was obnoxious, but once we got going in the game, he stopped responding to her. This was not to be borne. Anime Catgirl GF doesn't stop there though. The living incarnation of the Hot MILFs in your area banner ad is insistent on being as hornily obnoxious as needed to get everyone's attention, as she is a ticking time bomb of creepiness 2 seconds away from detonation. If you aren't wearing headphones or something, I would go do that about now because like a loud fart in a small elevator, it's about to get really uncomfortable in here. Roll post. She got up, stripped down to her underwear, which was see-through, so she was basically naked, and then went outside to sulk on the front porch. She clearly wanted him to know that she was not pleased and wanted him to chase after her to see what was wrong. When she went outside in her underwear, we asked if she was all right. He said he would go check on her in a bit and then forgot. She sat out there for at least half an hour. This was in the fall and it was cold. And she finally came back inside, still clad in only her underwear, and laid on the floor near him. He put his feet up on her and asked the folks sitting nearby if they wanted to as well. Because, quote, she likes that. We were also invited to spank her and pull her hair. And that's it for this channel's monetization. It was cool. I used to like being able to make rent. But one anime uwu catgirl cringelord got up in Oblivion NPC walked out the house wearing nothing but censored bars. But I'm gonna go from demonetized to straight up owing YouTube money before this video is done. Just you watch and wait, roll post. At this point, I was really uncomfortable. I wanted to game. That's what I was invited over for. It was his house and he can do what he wants with other consenting adults, but I wish he would have been upfront that this stuff would be going on, because the way it went down, they made the rest of us unwilling participants in their sex life. If he told us ahead of time that they were going to do DNS stuff while we gamed, I could and would have opted out. On top of that, the Catgirl shtick was extremely annoying. It's difficult for me to convey how bad it was. The best description I can give is, Imagine spending the evening with a fan service Henrietta Pussycat. It was insufferable. For most of the night, I was this close to yelling at her to STFU, and I never do stuff like that, especially as a guest at someone else's house. I made it through the rest of the session, and afterwards I told everyone I had to bow out because my work schedule changed. I've never been back since. You know, they say that curiosity killed the cat. After hearing this far, I say maybe the oversized parasite deserved it. Now, obviously I don't need to tell you not to inflict your weird exhibitionist garbage on unwilling participants. I mean, everyone who rocks with the crab cult knows this. That's why you subscribe to the channel and like the video for infinite nat 20s, right? But alas, what's even worse than an uncomfortable and boundary-pushing night? I'll tell you. It's the following story of how a D&D game ended a marriage arrangement. Roll post. A brief bit of context and background for this story. Though this story takes place in October of 2019, I only discovered CritCrab's channel last month and decided it would be good for my mental and emotional health to tell my story going into the new year of 2022. I'm single at this point in time, and no names, only aliases, will be used. In June of 2019, my fiancé at the time and I were first introduced to D&D through different means. I had discovered Critical Role's Vox Machina campaign through a YouTube recommendation, and my betrothed had a coworker who had been DMing games for nearly 5 years at that point in time. We asked to join his next homebrew campaign as characters who were already a married couple, a Tabaxi blood hunter and a Nephilim, half Aasimar, half Tiefling artificer. He said yes, and after 2 sessions where the rest of the table, a real-life married couple, my fiancé and I, and the DM's brother, each introduced our characters, the DM informs us that our characters would be meeting for the first time at an in-universe swingers event. This automatically makes me uncomfortable for a number of reasons. First, I was raised in a conservative household, and though I am a devout Christian and political moderate, I wanted to be careful about introducing sexual elements to our role-playing because, second, I'm also a recovering schmornography addict, and one of my relapse triggers is imagining sexual scenarios in my head. I informed the DM of this, and though he was visibly frustrated, he told me he'd message us in our group chat with a new idea in a day or two. Fast forward to the next session, we hadn't heard anything from him all week, and he opens the game with our characters, my fiancé's Tabaxi, my Nephilim, the brother's human fighter, and the married couple's half-elf cleric and dragonborn rogue. All being stripped naked by attendants in a rich guy's house, and a manservant offering us all drinks. Right away I put my head in my hands, pray for strength, and my fiancé tells me, "It's alright babe, you'll be okay, I'm right here." This brings me some comfort, and despite my objections, the night goes on with the DM going into more and more explicit details as to what the Dragonborn, half-elf, and human members of our party were getting up to. The DM then has an NPC spike my drink after I fail both a perception check and a constitution saving throw. And when my character wakes up, he's being assaulted against my/his will by the wife of PC's half-elf while the 2 male PCs were holding my fiance's character back and making her watch. After about a minute of this, I began packing up my things and made my way to my car, waiting for my fiancé to follow. About 10 minutes later, she comes out and asks me to come back to the table while seeing that I'm visibly shaking from the fury and embarrassment I felt. I refused. She goes back in to get her things, and I can hear audible laughter as the door opens when she comes back out. It's frustrating that after clearly communicating to the DM exactly what they found uncomfortable, the DM not only walks all over it, but OP's spouse-to-be won't even back them up. It's just one breach of trust after another all in one night, especially given that the fiancé knows full well how this is affecting their significant other and chooses not to care. Even worse considering how they reacted knowing he had a schmornography addiction. To have something that serious stepped over and laughed at is the mark of someone who should be avoided as soon as they are detected unless approached by licensed and certified animal control officers. Roll post. I message everyone in the group chat the next day and say that both the DM and the wife need to apologize or I'm not coming back. My fiancé tells me that I should forgive them and try again. And I agreed to the first part, but not the second. About a month later, the DM's brother shoots me a private message showing me a private chat log between my fiancé and the DM, who, to remind you, is a coworker of hers. It shows that my fiancé and the DM had planned the swinger opening together, and planned for my character to get assaulted as a means of, quote, opening me up to a bigger world. Since I was conservative in my beliefs about sex, but didn't mind playing a game with people who thought differently than me. Whenever I hear this argument, it reeks of serious rape apologist vibes.
How dare you be mad that I forced myself on you? You're too conservative about your sexuality anyway. You're lucky I was there to loosen you up. Now you're free!
I'm not conflating the antagonists of this story with actual rapists, but their actions and language line up disturbingly close. These people and anyone who think like them are actual scum. But we haven't even hit the plot twist yet. Roll it. I confronted my fiancé about it, and a week later, I was sucker punched again when I received another message, this time from the husband of the married couple. He showed me messages between my fiancé and his wife. It turned out that my fiancé had cheated on me with her, outing herself as bi in the process, and was not remorseful about it. I feel like my brain is melting out of my ears with each passing word. This actually reads like one of those Sigma male memes where the caption states something unbelievably cartoonishly evil over a video of Patrick Bateman or the Joker. Beta husband said I can't sleep with other men. Slept with another woman instead. In all seriousness, OP dodged a major bullet. Imagine if he actually married that pile of hot garbage. In many Christian denominations, divorce is not easy to get away with, so he would be resigned to a very slow burn. Anyways, let's wrap up this story. Roll post. I ended our engagement a few days later and haven't spoken to any of them since. I gave up on D&D for a long time because I felt betrayed by someone close to me who wanted to discover something new and fun we could do together, and instead used it as an opportunity to shame me, embarrass me, and ultimately hurt me. I have since forgiven her and trying to find a new group, hopefully one with more respect and courteousness, and closer to the family of friends dynamic I grew attached to when watching Critical Role. I won't let what happened to me ruin my opportunity to make new friends and find a healthy outlet for my creative side I shunned as a kid. Well, I by no means want to write this off as a happy ending, but I appreciate that OP didn't ditch the entire hobby because of the group's awful actions. The rest of the group, though, have provoked a crustacean curse, and are banished to the realm of the weird guy who takes anime too seriously, where they will be forced to helplessly watch his low-res pirated episodes of Sword Art Online for all eternity. That said, I know the perfect thing to wash this terrible video out, and that's another terrible video. Oh, here they are now. These two boxes might have a cool video that you want to watch and stuff.